you're bringing up Pacheco. I mean, that's a huge threat out of the backfield as far as catching the ball. I mean,
yeah,
those are things that you don't realize that, getting the guys healthy and like you said, with JuJu and getting those guys back. I mean, those are guys that he's had chemistry with for the last few years, and those are things. Those are big when you can lean on as a quarterback, when you can lean on a guy like, when I had Tony Gonzalez, like I knew what I was getting out of Tony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Pat may know what he's getting out of JuJu or whatever. He may know what he's getting out of Pacheco or whatever, those guys. So he knows what he's getting out of Travis Kelce. I mean, so give it time. I mean, I know it's week 9 and you should have all this stuff ironed out, but we're just halfway through the season. I mean, and you're 9-0. I mean, I keep saying that, but I mean, hey.
And we know, especially for the Chiefs, man, we know they're going deep in the playoffs, to finish up this three-peat. So, for them, like everything is going to come. It's going to come. You got time that whatever they've been messing up in is fixable. They got plenty of time to get everything right. So I don't. It doesn't bother me whatsoever, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really worried about Buffalo either. I think we're a much better team than Buffalo is. Josh Allen doesn't have the weapons he used to have. And so he's starting to try to get used to those things. Amari Cooper is one of those guys that's out. But I know we're going to talk about that also too. But what do you – go ahead, Marcus. What's your next question, brother? What else?
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys kind of started to talk about it. So today, obviously this week, they activated Amenahu and Pacheco off the IR. So they opened up their 21-day practice window, which is huge, big time. So the cavalry is coming. But JuJu Smith-Schuster is going to play this week. That's what Andy Reid said. But he said Amenahu and Pacheco unlikely to play this week. So Travis Kelce on his podcast talked about how he sees this team being a high-scoring offense for the rest of the season. And obviously that entails guys like Pacheco and JuJu coming back. But for this weekend alone, what do you expect to see? How do you guys expect to see JuJu work with Kelce and D-Hop in this offense? What kind of things are you expecting to see here with this with the JuJu addition with D-Hop? Because it's the first time we're going to see JuJu and D-Hop on this offense together. What do you kind of see? How do you see JuJu and D-Hop working with each other, meshing with each other with Kelce on the field? Because I've seen some people online are saying it's kind of redundancies with JuJu and D-Hop. A lot of fans are kind of worried about the duo together, which is I think is silly. But how do you guys see it? Because I mean, if Kelce's saying this is going to be an explosive offense the rest of the season, how do you guys see these three kind of meshing with each other? And also on top of that, Xavier Worthy, you have the speed of the overtop threat with Xavier Worthy. How do you guys see this kind of offense shaping up the rest of the season with the JuJu, D-Hop, Kelce, and Worthy?
I mean, I'd say at the end of the day, I mean, that's huge to have somebody like that. I mean, for somebody to say that they don't know how it's going to gel, I mean, at the end of the day, when you add another threat back on the offense, I mean, that almost frees up to where you got your one-on-ones now with Travis Kelce. When before they might have been, saying, hey, we'll leave our, the number 2 receiver one-on-one essentially because we can lock him down. But we can put an extra guy, on Travis Kelce. So now at the end of the day, is Patrick's job is to say, hey, take what the defense gives you. Find your matchups that are one-on-one. I trust that, hey, if I've got D-Hop one-on-one, like, hey, I'm going to take that chance. I'm going to take that shot. I'm going to trust it. If I've got Travis Kelce one-on-one, like, those are matchups that you got to trust week in and week out that your guys are going to win. And then with JuJu, I mean, at the end of the day, bringing him back, I don't know if obviously he's, I would say he's full speed, but, it might not be something to where he's just, full go in the sense where they might just try to ease him back in. But, just having these guys that are starting to get back and from injuries, and that's huge to add another weapon on offense. I mean, what quarterback wouldn't want more weapons?
You know what? That right there is the point. Like, that's exactly – it makes the quarterback's job much easier. It makes Patrick – he's got more targets to throw the ball to, guys that are productive guys. Okay, you got JuJu, who is primarily a slot guy if you want to. D-Hop can do it all. He can be slide. He can be outside. I don't care where you put him in. Like, those three out on the field, it gives Pat options. He's got legitimate guys he can catch for. I'm not saying he didn't before, but we're talking about guys that's been productive, right? We talked about JuJu almost having 80 catches 2 years ago with Pat. Okay, we see what D-Hop's been able to do over his career. Travis Kelce has been killing him the last 3 or 4 games, and everybody said he was old, tired, and didn't move around the way they did because Taylor Swift, I don't know, somehow put a hex on him, stole his heart or whatever. I don't know what it is, right? They
You're
keep
probably
talking.
writing a song right now about him already.
Right, yeah.
Just wait.
Just waiting.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking that somehow bringing JuJu back, and you don't quite understand how that's going to help gel with what Pat does, I don't know how you're looking at football. I just don't understand it. Because you got, like I said, you just increasing your weapons, you're increasing your options. We got guys that can get open, understand, windows, how to find areas. Those are the guys that you need that got the experience, that know how to get open. And they're going to help a young guy like Worthy out, right? And so now all of a sudden you had to put a whole lot of, pressure on Worthy to do well. We gave him a lot of targets last week. He didn't really produce a whole lot. So now it's like, okay, watch D-Hop and those guys. And sometimes, Figs, it's two. You might have a young guy, and he might look like he has everything together. I'm not saying that he doesn't. But you might be putting a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's got a lot on his plate that he feels like he needs to do a game. And so his mind is still going with everything he's doing, like, oh my gosh, let me do this right. How do I? And so what I've seen, absolutely. What I've seen with Worthy is him still learning how to run routes here in the NFL. He's been so fast than everybody else in college, like it's easy. I always talk about this. I mean, he's not going against, somebody who's taking, global finance. Okay. He's going against somebody who's trying to make, $50 million a year. All right. And so you got to learn how to stack the guy, learn how to stack it, get open. Right. So.
I mean, that's the thing too, is that's a great point as far as from that standpoint. But the one thing that I would say that, and I could be wrong on this as far as, but you don't have any guys in that locker room that, when Travis Kelce, the first couple of games where he didn't really have any production or whatever, he wasn't sitting there just blowing Patrick Mahomes up in the dang media saying like, he's not throwing me the ball. And, D-Hop, if D-Hop only gets 2 catches this week, he's never been a guy that's going to be like, why aren't you throwing me the ball? Like, there's no toxic guys. There's just a bunch of football players and great athletes in that locker room that, at the end of the day, if I happen to get 10 catches this game, awesome. But the next game, if I don't only get 2 catches, they're not those guys that are just in the media sitting there saying like, he's not throwing me the football. And next thing you know, now you got guys now you got Patrick who feels like he's got to force the ball.
Come on, baby, go. Yes. That's a first down. This football season, I'll be putting down normal sodas like Coca-Cola for Olipop. Olipop offers a healthier alternative with its low sugar content and natural ingredients. Olipop is more than just a drink. It's a wellness companion that supports your digestive health. Packed with prebiotics, this fizzy elixir helps promote good bacteria in your gut, leading to improved digestion and overall well-being. So go ahead, click the link in the description and use promo code SODALOVE and get your can of Olipop so you can enjoy the game guilt-free. Go Chiefs. Use the promo code SODALOVE for 15% off now.
And he starts doing stuff that, he's going off the reservation, essentially is saying, hey, I've got to get a guy because he's unhappy. You don't want that kind of toxic stuff in the locker room as far as, every time you turn the corner, when you see a guy's like, well, obviously he's looking at me because, he's not throwing me the football. He's more or less staring a hole right through me kind of thing. So that's always good to have guys like that. And like I said, adding JuJu back, it's just going to do anything. If anything, it's going to do it. It's going to help. Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, like you were saying before, like if Patrick feels like he's under duress from, the tackle not getting this guy, I mean, he's going to try to make things happen. And sometimes it's where you get in trouble, you get in problems. That's how you get, banged up instead of just making things happen. Those guys around you, now he's like, okay, I could trust this guy's going to be where I'm expecting him to be. So you weren't there with Al Saunders. Al Saunders was gone, right? So he went to when you got there. Okay.
Yeah.
But Al used to tell us all the time. He said, one thing you don't do, don't fool the quarterback. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Okay. And you can guarantee Travis, JuJu, and D-Hop all those three guys are going to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there.
That's it. You're right.
Yeah, I didn't get the no, you know, a lot of Chief fans and every sports team always has people who overreact, but I've seen some people who are just saying that we got JuJu, and then once JuJu got hurt, that's why we got D-Hop, and having those two together is gonna be kind of a redundancy. More interested to see how it works. Seemed like there's a little bit of negativity there, but yeah, like I'll take your guys' word for it, and I do agree. More weapons, the merrier for our guy Pat to make life easier for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, JuJu should be happy you got a guy like D-Hop across from him. And D-Hop should be happy he's got a guy like JuJu. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's go double team D-Hop. I'll be 1-on-1. Double team me. He'll be 1-on-1. I mean, a defense can't be right when you have weapons like that. And that's in years past when you know the Chiefs have had this success. I mean, the defense is really they never can be right essentially. Because you get, whatever that one-on-one matchup, Patrick's always been able to exploit that.
And we got complementary pieces too around them, right?
Yeah.
Worthy, McCole Hardman, Jalen Watson. We got complementary pieces, and Noah Gray does a great job at tight end, catching the football too. So, yeah, just, man, make the offense easier for real.
Yeah. And veteran guys too who know to find the holes in the defenses. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. And the fact that Kelce's saying we're gonna be this high powered offense for the rest of the season. I mean, I think they're confident in what they have, the pieces they have over there. So I'm very excited to see that.
So Thiggs, I'm gonna ask you this, okay? And you don't have to name any names. But have you ever in the locker room experienced somebody say crybaby guys? Like guys just wanting the ball and just, just
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that puts it and honestly, what that does at the end of the day, that puts pressure on the quarterback to say, hey, I've got to force this guy the ball. And you don't want that because that's when mistakes happen. You're like, at the end of the day, your job as a quarterback is to take what the defense gives you. And Patrick's done that, so great over the past through his career as far as taking what the defense has given him and not trying to force those things. And like I said earlier, JD, as far as just that, I mean, a half second, I mean, as a quarterback, a half second is a lot. I mean, I know that might be just a click of a finger essentially, but that is a lot when it comes time to having that window to throw it in or the guy not, batting the ball or swiping at your hand, but essentially, the ball's already gone. I mean, those things are very key to, having success as a quarterback. I mean, you could go back and watch a game, and I'm telling you right now a guy has 30 passes or whatever, and he completes 20 of them. Of those 20, I bet you there's a guy within 2 or 3 foot of his arm every time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of those things where it's like it really comes down to having that extra second and trusting that, hey, I know I got a guy behind, protecting my backside, blind side, that's going to give me that extra half a second that I need to wait till D-Hop gets open, like you said. Yeah. So those are things that, like I said, I mean, hopefully they can get on the same page, the offensive line. And like I said, hopefully if they do bring in a guy like Donovan Smith, hopefully, like you said, that can elevate that offensive line room as far as, in many ways, whether it's him getting on the field playing and we know what he can do, but also being a veteran and being able to, help a young guy and move him along.
Yeah. Somebody, Dane says, don't hate on me, but I feel like we did that with Tyreek last couple of years with KC and Pat forced it just a bit. My opinion was that, you had Travis and Hill was just so good that if Pat got into a tough situation, he knew he could just throw it up to Tyreek. Tyreek, he has the ability, like that was the crazy part. Like seeing him have the ability to get around guys, just to run around him and go catch a pass where everybody's like waiting for the ball to come down. And Tyreek there, gather his feet, run, jump up in front of him. It's like, he's just so more athletically gifted than a lot of the DBs and safeties he was just running against.
And I certainly hear what he said as far as that. But with a guy like Tyreek, I mean, it's not that you're forcing the ball, but it's you got to design a lot of plays to get a guy like that the ball because he's so explosive and so elusive
Yes, sir.
To where it's whether you're throwing the little quick screen or whatever, essentially, or you're, faking it, obviously a bootleg to essentially have him making a double move where it looks like a bootleg. Obviously, he's running this way, hitting a pylon route or whatever it might be. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you gotta incorporate guys like that when you have weapons like a Tyreek Hill to get him the ball to make plays. I mean, and yeah, there are times where it probably looks like he's forcing it, to those guys. But hey, when you got weapons like that, you got to get those guys the ball. I mean, because they are very, they're game changers when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's right.
So good point, though.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.